So I've been thinking a lot about obviously this summer, the fruit of the Spirit and that whole passage in Galatians. And, the reason that Paul wrote Galatians was because the people there were having a hard time with the transition from a rules-based faith, if you call it that, or religion, to a faith-based one. They had a hard time with that transition. And you can see why, because if you give people rigid rules, you kind of know if you're in or you're out. You know if you did it right or you didn't do it right. And so, but the problem with the rules-based things is that the rules can only take you so far. You can know the right thing, but it doesn't always help you to do the right thing. Anybody ever know the right thing and not do it? So it's okay as a starter, as a measuring stick, but this is a transition that happens in this region where Paul traveled. By the way, we'll be taking a group there to Galatia in about, 2 weeks? 2 weeks. So we're going to walk firsthand where this happened, this transition. But when, if you've ever been in a company, in a business where they had a new owner, or a corporate transition, and you're like, oh man, they messed everything, they moved everything around. Well, this is kind of how people were feeling. And so Paul went into the region and he planted these churches, and he talked about the freedom of following God by the Spirit. And then these people came behind him who are not so comfortable with Paul's freedom message, and they're like, no, you got to do this, and you need to follow this rule, and you need to follow that rule. They were kind of law-based people. And the accusation was, Paul, if you just let people do what they want or what they feel led, then they're going to have all kinds of stuff running wild. And Paul goes, no. If you need a measuring stick, I'll give you this list. The fruit. So what the list of the fruit of the Spirit is, it's the bottom line. It's the net result of if you know that this is a God thing or not. If you know God's working in your life or not. If God's working in your life, you would have a list like this: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. That's how you know. And if that kind of stuff is being produced in your life, then you know for sure that this is God working through you, regardless of your knowledge of the rules. And so it's a transition. And what it tells us is if that fruit is in your life, and we've been talking all summer, and we all know we have ways to go, probably in a lot of these areas. Self-control being next week, right? Who can say room for improvement? But if you're connected to God, this is the whole thing. If you're connected to God, God is all of these things. God is love and joy and peace and patience. That's God. And so you have a good connection. You have a good connection. And if that stuff's not in your life, you got to work on the connection, what you're connected to. Can I say it a different way? A lot of us are plugged into the wrong stuff. You're connected to the wrong stuff. And so if you're plugged into or connected to the wrong stuff, the old saying is garbage in, garbage out. If you're connected and what you're listening to, what your headspace is in, what's on your device is all the wrong stuff, then the wrong stuff is going to come out of you. So the key in the whole series this summer is just pay attention to what you're plugged into. Pay attention to what you're connected to, because eventually that's going to work its way through you, and that is going to produce fruit in you. Good fruit or bad fruit. So today we're going to talk about faithfulness. Faithfulness is basically reliable. you can count on it. Think about this. Who here remembers being young and the only thing that you wanted from your car was that it would start? I mean, keep the expectations low, but it's just that it would start. Reliable, you know. Reliable is that it will be there. It's going to work. And it's so important that this is a characteristic in our life, that we are faithful, that we're reliable, that you can be counted on. It also, interestingly, it's a characteristic, it's a quality that's losing fashion in our culture today. When I think of reliable, I think of my grandpa, Darby Cramer, just Mr. Steady, just reliable. 4:30, he was going to back his green Chevy pickup truck down the 2-track driveway, pull it right in by the garage. 4:30. Out there working with his hands, getting it done every single day. I don't know if I told you this, but my grandpa even went to a semi-retirement. I think about the time he turned 80, he started taking Tuesdays off. Spend time with grandma. How many know what I'm talking about? I was listening to a guy, and he said something that intrigued me. He said, you know, you young guys, this young generation, you got this technology. Think about this. He said, if you could put your genius and the technology and the opportunities that you have with my grandpa's generation's work ethic, oh man, look out what you could do. Look, think about it. If you could combine those, not substitute, but if you could put them together, oh man, look out what you could do with your life. So faithfulness is this idea that you can be counted on. It's reliable. It's always going to be there. And I want to read to you a parable that Jesus gives about this idea of faithfulness. Again, he's speaking about what he called the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven, will be like a man a guy goes on a journey. And he calls his servants and he entrusts his property to them. He gives them as a trust. Hold on to this. Do something with this. To one man, he gave 5 talents. You could translate this like 5 bags of gold. To another man, 2 talents, and to another 1 talent, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received the 5 talents, he went at once and put his money to work, and he gained 5 more. So also the one with 2 bags of money, he gained 2 more. But the man who received 1 talent went off, he dug a hole in the ground, and he hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. He comes back from the journey. What did you do with what I gave you? The man who received 5 talents brought the other 5. Master, you entrusted me with 5 talents. I have gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and what? Faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. There's so much to talk about today. But just before I get started, one of our big things is we think we don't need to be faithful with small things. I'm going to wait to be faithful when I get the big contract or the big job. What I do now is not that meaningful. So I'm not going to do my best. I'm not going to be faithful. I'm not going to work hard here. But one day I'm going to really give it the go. Faithful with a little, and then you become entrusted with much. His master said, "Come and share in your master's happiness." The man with 2 talents came also. "Master, you entrusted me with 2 talents. See, I've gained 2 more." His master said, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share in your master's happiness." Then the man who had received the 1 talent came. "Master, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here's what belongs to you." Here's what belongs to you. His master replied, "You wicked and lazy servant. So you knew that I harvested where I hadn't sown and gathered where I have not scattered seed? Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, the money changers. So when I returned, I would at least have the interest. Take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10. Think about this. Think about your life. You know, if one of the casualties of this modern era of atheism, and I don't really care if it's atheism that's declared with a bumper sticker or if it's soft atheism, like it's never stated and you never make a big deal about it, but you really live your life in a way that you don't believe in God. You don't believe that God brought you here. Because what this story does, the first thing you get out of this story is that your life is a gift from the Master. That's the first thing that you get. I say this a lot. You think about you a lot. Who thinks about themselves constantly? Who thinks about themselves? Am I getting it? Am I this? Am I that? Am I getting this? You're always thinking, but you think about yourself, but you didn't think of you, which is interesting. You didn't think of you. You are not your own idea. You are someone else's idea. You are God's idea. The reason that you're here, the reason that you're breathing is not because of you. That is a fundamental thing that you believe that or you don't believe that. And if you don't believe it, that has all kinds of cascading consequences. Whether you state your atheism or not, but if deep down you don't really believe that your life is a gift, man, that has consequences. But if you believe that your life is here by God's gift and God's grace, what I am and what I have is a gift from God. It's been entrusted to me. Along with a sense of gift, immediately follows a sense of calling or responsibility. If this was all a gift, then the question is, what am I supposed to do with it? It was given to me, and then there were instructions. I'm entrusting this to you. One of the great problems that we are having in our society today is people don't know that their life is a gift, and therefore they don't know that they have a calling, a responsibility. Think about it. Think about all the stuff that goes wrong with the one talent guy. Now, we don't know all of the things, but one of the things, of course, that we would probably do when the talents were, if you were in the meeting with the master, you were there, and the talents were doled out, who would be like this? How much did you get? Let's go have coffee. And you're going to probe them for some information. How much did you get? We're so curious about what someone else has got, aren't we? We always want to know, what did someone else get? And think about the wasted time and energy of comparing your gift to someone else's gift. Some of you are beautiful. And some of you are smart. didn't say anything wrong. I just telling you, like, some of you are I'm just saying, some of you are fast and some of you are, and everybody's got different talents. Everybody's been given different gifts by God. And so you don't know why you got the gift, but if you believe this, what you believe is, I better get going, man. God gave me a what? A gift. He gave me an opportunity. He gave me a shot. One of the terrible things that's going on is everybody's worried about what somebody else got. Here's the death to your faithfulness. Comparing yourself to others. I wonder why did he get 5? Somehow it got out. It always gets out. He got 5. How in the heck did he get 5? Now, and just think about the ratio. It wasn't like, well, see, so if you have 5, right, plus 2, 7, and you have 1 more, you have 8. 3 people with 8. So there's a little bit of a conundrum. You'd think, well, I'll give 3, 3, and 2. How many are with me? If you get your kids, right? Or if you're like my grandma, when my grandma gave out Christmas presents, like you would often get like 18 cents scotch taped into your Christmas card because anybody with me? There would be 18 cents with scotch tape in your card because everybody got the same, right? To round out your gift. That's not how it was. So then you really go, well, the guy with 1, he's like, why did this guy get 5? Now he could spend so much time thinking about that. And then thinks, this master's unfair. He's cruel. He doesn't, but does it help him with his talent? Does it help him with his life? Does it help him with his journey? It doesn't do anything for him. The only thing to focus on is doing something with what you've got. This is a story about bitterness. I knew you were a hard master. People are so bitter at God. So bitter at life. Why didn't I get that? Why did he get that? Why did I only get this? Now, fair enough, right? When we get to heaven, we can all ask a few questions. Who's got a few? I got questions. All right, fine. Just put them in a little file box in the back of your head. Now, this is important. This is not a small thing that I'm telling you. Because it's fair enough. You got questions. But if you have questions that you can't reconcile, you've got options, because one of your options is to say, I'm so smart, I deserve an answer to this question, and if I don't get an answer that's sufficient for my thinking, then I'm going to screw up the rest of my life. I'm going to stay bitter. That's an option. But what you're assuming with that option is that you're really smart. Like, well, go figure, because I am. But how smart are you? How much can you really take into account? Or you could say, perhaps there's so much stuff that I don't even know about. You could even ask a scientist now, they're talking about, we know a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what our universe is. There is so much that we don't know. So what you can do, rather than wasting your life in bitterness and comparing and competing and contrasting, and along with it, complaining, enough. Why? What's it doing for you? Take all the comparing, all the competing, all the complaining, throw it away. And your question, why did he get 5 and I got 1? Fair enough. Put it in the back of your mind, right? Take it to heaven with you and say, we'll talk about it. That's all you can do. Because I don't have answers for a lot of these things. I've never met anybody that does. But what you can do is take the thing that God gave you and be faithful with it. So I'm going to take this job. I'm going to take this responsibility. I'm going to take these sets of talents. Man, I could think about over the years, wishing that, I was this much more of this or had this much more of that. Don't worry about what someone else is getting. Here's the thing you need to realize. It all belongs to God anyway. This is important. Is this actually his 5? No, he just gets to play with it. That's what we forget. Have you forgotten? You just get to play with this for a while. Did you know you're going to die? I mean, just a casual reminder. Anybody used to, remember you would play board games with the family? Like we used to play, different games. We'd play Risk, and then if we really had a lot of time, we'd play Monopoly. My grandma's, we had to play faster games because my grandpa, he didn't like playing those games that went on forever. But sometimes when Grandma and Grandpa were in the other room, we'd play Monopoly or something like that. Monopoly goes on forever. You know what? And and all of a sudden, the momentum starts shifting your way, and you start getting more money and more houses, and my brother, he cheated so much. Oh, he's such a cheater. Oh, he couldn't stand losing. But anyway, anybody remember getting so angry with your siblings? Oh, we'd get so angry. And by the end of the night, now it's been like 3.5 hours, right? And you're taking everyone's money from them, you're charging them rent, and they hate you, and they go to the other room. And by the time the game's over, there's only 2 of you left, right? And at the end of the game, here's what happens. Everybody hates you, and you won. Congratulations. And then what do you do when the game's over? You got to put it all away. You got to put it all back in there. Let me tell you something about everything that you have and everything that you do. When it's all over, it all goes back in the box. It's not yours anyway. You've just been entrusted. So the whole thing, your life and my life, is a test from God. It's a gift. And what we do is we take this and we do the very best that we can. And this is a key phrase in here that isn't always pointed out. When he celebrates them, good and faithful servant, he says, come into your master's, come and share your master's what? Happiness. Happiness. Do you know what happiness is? Happiness is when you realize that your life is a gift. Happiness is playing the game. That's the happiness. Happiness is turning 2 into 4. That's happiness. It's not when you get there, it's doing it. That's the happiness. Happiness is the process, is what it is. So if you want to be happy, by the way, why is there such a struggle now? Because there's too many people that are taking their talent and they're burying it, they're sitting it out. They're not doing anything. What do you do if you take your one talent and you bury it in the ground? Nothing. You just sit there. By the way, the next series that I'm doing, I'm going to be talking to the young generation about how to make a major decision. How to make decisions. But this is not helpful. When you just sit there and watch it, now you have nothing to do. Having nothing to do is not a good thing. You need something to do. You need to be active. You need to be busy. You need to be looking at that gift that God gave you, whatever it is. Probably in reality, there are times when there are seasons of our life when we're like 5 talent people, and then there are seasons of our life when we're like 2 talents, and then like a 1 talent season. It doesn't matter. Whatever the thing is in front of you, that's your responsibility, and that's your purpose. And if you get up every single day and have a sense of purpose to your life, you're happy. Come share your master's happiness. I'm in the game. Think about this. You remember Joseph? Joseph, he could at any point in his life think, why did I get the raw deal? Why did I get the 1 talent? He's got vision. God's given him dreams, but his brothers are jealous of him. They sell him. They're going to kill him. He barely survives that. And he ends up a servant in some other household in a foreign land. But what does it say? It says, but God was with Joseph. But God was with him. Joseph decided that whatever life threw at him, he was just going to stay faithful. And then it says this. In Genesis, it says, he was put in charge of Potiphar's house. Genesis 39:4. This pleased Potiphar, so he made Joseph his personal attendant and put him in charge of his entire household and everything he owned. What pleased him? Joseph took care of the little things. Do you know what's satisfying in life is just taking care of the little things. Just do all the little things. And the next thing that would happen for Joseph is, now he's in charge of Potiphar's entire house. Jesus said, faithful with a little, ruler over much. Then it says, from that day, Joseph was put in charge of his master's household and property. The Lord began to bless Potiphar's household for Joseph's sake. Think about this. Potiphar's the boss. Joseph's the employee, if you can use that. And this guy's getting blessed because of what this guy's doing. God's blessings flowing through him. What should your life be about? You should be a conduit of God's blessing. Wherever you go, you try to build things up. You try to bring things up. You try to improve things. That's your ticket. Well, it didn't go well for him because then he got lied about by Potiphar's wife. You know how that happened? Well, sure enough, Joseph gets lied about. He gets thrown into prison. But what was that? That was a detour to get him into another path so God could take him even, what? Even higher. So here's what you can focus on. You can focus on how wrong it is that his brothers treated him that way. You could focus on how wrong it is that Potiphar's wife treated him that way. Or you can focus on, wonder what God has for me here. Wonder what God's up to now. Anybody ever been through a hard time? Anybody ever lost your job or your income or unjustly got treated or things completely got shifted and realigned in your life and you get blindsided? And you got options. And one option is to get bitter and to find all the people that it's their fault. That's an option. But the other option is to say, wait a minute. Wonder what God's up to. Wonder what he's doing now in my life. I think Joseph chose the other one. He's over here. Now he's in prison, but he's in prison, in Pharaoh's prison, and God's about to pop the door open. But right before he does, Joseph interprets a dream, right, for the cupbearer. And when the cupbearer is restored to Pharaoh, Joseph goes, so when this works out for you, don't forget I'm here, buddy, cellmate. Joseph's thinking, it's now. And it's what? It's not now. And there's just incredible verse. It says, but the cupbearer forgot about Joseph. You ever been forgot about? They forgot to cut you in that deal, huh? They forgot to include you in that meeting. They forgot to... One more chance for bitterness, but he won't do it. He hangs in there, and he hangs in there. You know what faithfulness is? It's just hanging in there sometimes. How many know if you can learn this thing to just hang in there, just show up every day, just keep showing up. Just keep showing up and doing the right thing and doing the best thing. Keep showing up. It can be hard. Sometimes it doesn't. You want to see a quicker payoff. Like if I do the right thing, I want to, but this is called the fruit of the Spirit. And one of the things that we know about fruit is it takes what? It takes a while. A lot of things take a while to materialize. But you keep doing the right thing. Stay faithful. I remember when I was a kid growing up and watching my dad work, and he had all kinds of like businesses, but one of them I remember was we made wiring harnesses. And so we had a plastic injection molding machine, and I'd take the parts out, and I had to twist the parts of, talk about an insignificant, tedious task. You know what I mean? Like you're twisting plastic to separate one from the other, and I would just sit there and twist it and do it, and I'd put them in a bin, and then I'd discard the other one and twist it and do it. And then I remember cutting wire a certain length, I'd pull it out, cut wire, pull it out. Oh, just hour after hour after hour. Just same thing over and over and over again. And I remember I got paid a penny per part, a penny. How many know, like, when you start offering people pennies, that's when you start shutting down and go, this is not worth my time. But, you don't say that when you're 7. You just keep going. You just keep going. You just keep showing up. And I'll tell you the thing that if we could get the beauty of this is that if you could just keep showing up. When I think about God's faithfulness to us, I want you to just, as we close the service today, because this is called the fruit of the Spirit of God. That means if God's in us, the faithfulness is going to be a part of our life. But that means also that He's faithful. His characteristic of being faithful. God's always faithful. And in your life, you can think about the times God showed up. God was there. God's faithful. 2 Timothy chapter 2 says this. Even if we are unfaithful, He remains what? Faithful. For He cannot deny who He is. That's just who God is. So sometimes you're not even faithful, but God's faithful. He's still there. Do you remember Jesus with the disciples? How time after time after time, He was trying to help them to get it, and they just didn't get it. What He was doing and what He was about. And you get to the very end, He's told them now, He's warned them, I'm going to be betrayed, I'm going to be crucified, but hang in there because I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back. And He told them over and over, but they couldn't get it. So in the end, you have the picture of what it's like. Jesus remains faithful, right? When He's hanging on the cross, He's finishing. He's faithful. I'm going to finish the work that God gave me to do. When He died, He said, it is what? It's finished. It's finished. And the disciples scattered and ran and betrayed. They couldn't stay the course. Later on, they received the Holy Spirit, and they turned from this faithless group of cowards to these, what would you call them? The early apostles, they were absolutely fearless. And now documented history, one after another being martyred, literally dying for their belief, their faith. How does this happen? Because God's Spirit is in them, because they're connected. If you find yourself, this is just how, if you find yourself struggling with these things, you got to ask yourself this simple question: what am I connected to? What's feeding me? Because what's feeding you is flowing through you, and what's flowing through you is going to come out of you. And so you got to say, am I connecting? Am I trusting? Am I relying? So before I do the closing prayer today, I asked Anna if she would come and sing a song. And this is about God's faithfulness. This is about the times in your life or my life where we're like Joseph and we feel like, man, where are you now, God? As you know, why is this happening to me? But when you come through on the other side, you realize, like Joseph, he said to his brothers came to him and said, Joseph, please forgive us. And Joseph, they're nervous that he's going to pay him back. And Joseph goes, no. Look, you intended to harm me, but God meant it for good. God has a way of superseding anything else that's going on and bringing good out of any difficulty that comes your way.
The best of me is barely breathing when I'm not somebody I believe in. Hold on to me when I miss the light, the night is stolen. When I'm slamming all the doors you've opened, hold on to me. Hold on to me. Hold on to me when it's too dark to see you. When I am sure I have reached the end. Hold on to me when I forget I need you. When I let go, hold me again. When I don't feel like I'm worth defending. And when I'm tired of all of my pretending, hold on to me. When I start to break in desperation underneath the weight of expectation, hold on to me. Hold on to me. Hold on to me when it's too dark to see you. When I am sure I have reached the end. Hold on to me when I forget I need you. When I let go, hold me again. I could rest here in your arms forever, 'cause I know nobody loves me better. Hold on to me. Hold on to me.
Perhaps it's really fitting that on Labor Day weekend, we talk about these ideas. It's a shout out to all the faithful hard workers out there that just keep showing up. And when Anna was singing that song, I couldn't help but thinking not only of my grandpa but my dad. One thing, what's so beautiful about the metaphor of the Heavenly Father is that, no matter what, my dad was going to take care of me. No matter what. And he went through good times and he went through hard times, and good economies and bad businesses, but it didn't matter. He's going to take care of me. He's just going to keep showing up. And that's your Heavenly Father. He's going to take care of you. He's going to take care of you. And not only that, But that goodness, the faithfulness of God's going to flow through you, right? And the fruit of God's Spirit in you is going to manifest. And you're going to pick up those talents, whatever they are, you pick them up, and you say, let's go. And nothing's going to be more fulfilling in your life than realizing that you've been given a gift and you have a calling.